You dropped a very interesting name last time you were on here, and you said that your favorite player in the NFL draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers was, well, the one and only Mr. Ohio State quarterback Will Howard himself. And, Will Howard ends up in Pittsburgh over the weekend. He waits till day 3, the 6th round of the NFL draft, and everybody's talking about the same stuff. Well, how good is he? Can he be the guy? Are the Pittsburgh Steelers done looking for a quarterback? What the situation's going to be like? And the questions, can he beat out Mason Rudolph? Should they stop pursuing Aaron Rodgers? Is he good enough to be the first 6th round pick almost ever to become a franchise quarterback? Not likely, but we're going to dive into it. I'll start by this. I expect Aaron Rodgers to be here by OTAs. That's my expectation. I don't I'm not reporting this. I'm expecting it to be the case where Aaron Rodgers is in town somewhat soon. So Aaron Rodgers will be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025. But I will ask you, because he was your guy going into the draft, what excited you about Will Howard, and what did the Steelers just get in a guy?
I think the size comparisons are just the biggest thing that stick out. It's hard to not get excited about a quarterback who's 6'4", pushing 240, who can sling the ball and also has some mobility. Was he playing on somewhat easy mode in the best team in the country? 100%.
Yes.
There's no doubting how much the team around him impacted his play. But I think at the end of the day, you're trying to mold these players. You're trying to take these raw traits and develop them into something greater. And I think when you look at that, the Steelers thrived when they had a quarterback who met that physical criteria. I think we're watching a player like Josh Allen run the league when he meets that physical criteria. And it's not everything, but it's an exciting part of his game. And the Steelers have virtually no hope at quarterback besides that. So I'm fine to sort of put some more eggs in the basket of someone who might be a long-term project, because I agree with you. He's going to have to sit behind a veteran number 12. But I think he's exciting because the physicality is just, I think that and the potential is there. So, we'll see. I'm excited.
I am also excited. I like Will Howard. Do I think he's a starting quarterback in the NFL? I think my better guess is he's a long-term backup, which is pretty good. But I do think that John Gruden would tell me, shut the hell up. He's a starting quarterback. This dude's the next Josh Allen. I'd accept it. I'd be cool with it. You look at Will Howard, you look at the quarterback situation for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Would you be comfortable? And again, this is coming from a place of a guy who had a lot of support in this and a lot of faith in this guy, and also somebody who teeters more on the verge of the fan base than I think I do. Are you still expecting and kind of hoping that the Steelers go after a franchise quarterback next year in the NFL draft?
Yes. I think because the fact that there is a question mark at all surrounding Will Howard, and it's not, you look at someone like Cam Ward going to Tennessee and you feel so confident that he's going to be your franchise quarterback. Not the case with Will Howard. That's fine. So the fact that is even true a little bit makes me think that you still have to look for that franchise quarterback. Now, if he shows up and all of a sudden he is this wunderkind, and he comes in and is like the next great Steelers quarterback, then of course it calls everything off. But I think they're taking a flyer on someone who has a lot of upside potential, but it doesn't change the fact that they still need a true franchise quarterback moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's the best situation. That's the thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Think about what they've done. They went out and they solidified their defense. They said, we need a corner. Okay. In the next year, we need to go get a cornerback. We could go get a corner. There will be corners available somewhere that we can go out and grab. They have safeties. They have linebackers. They have an entire new defensive line. Check. We're good. Pittsburgh Steelers defense is done. On the offensive side of the ball, you got to hope Broderick Jones works out and some of these young guys continue to take steps forward. But the building blocks are there. You've done it. You've put the work in to build an offensive line. You got a running back. You got 2 of them. They look pretty darn good. And I think Caleb Johnson's going to be an absolute monster. I think there's a chance he's the best running back in this draft. I think that if I had to make a bold prediction, I'm not saying he is. Ashton Genty is. I'm saying outcome at the end of the season, Caleb Johnson might be that dude. He's got a chance to be that dude. You got running backs. You have wide receivers for the most part. You got to figure that out, but I think that's kind of easy to figure out. You just need a quarterback. Like, that's all you got to do. And a year from now, you got to find somebody to compete with Will Howard and say, who's the better of you guys? Go ahead, figure it out. And if that's Will Howard, awesome. Sounds good. Trade the first rounder before he's got any opportunity, because you don't want the rest of the league to think that he stinks and this to turn into Trey Lance. You just, all right, Drew Aller, go ahead. He's on the market. Somebody come get him. And if Will Howard stinks and isn't that guy, or is a long-term backup like he's projected to be, well, cool. You just got a Mason Ben for the next 10 years. That sounds pretty great to me. Like, that sounds like you don't got to worry about the quarterback position for a long time in the NFL. I think it's the best situation the Pittsburgh Steelers should have been in. Do you think they should have went and got Shedeur?
No, I was honestly fine with it not happening, but I really, like, once it got to like pick 15, 16, I was like, oh, they're going to take this. They're going to take him. That's crazy. But no, I don't think they needed to do anything to go outside and get him. It would have been exciting. I think he maybe would have had a little bit higher upside with the Steelers, but it's a shame that he's going to Cleveland, because we know how that's going to end for him. But I hope that he, is the exception to the rule there.
Who's your prediction to be the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback in Week 1?
Oh, I hope it's Kenny Pickett.
You hope it's Kenny Pickett. Who's your prediction? Who do you think ends up? Because there's a lot of people that hope it's Mason Rudolph this year in Pittsburgh.
Sure,
but it's hard to predict that's going to happen.
I hope, and I do also think it's going to be Kenny Pickett, because there is nothing about that quarterback room that is very impressive. Maybe Dylan. I mean, obviously between Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, one of them could just like impress. Sure. But I think they'll come in there, they'll play well in the preseason, and then they'll still start Kenny Pickett and go like 1-7, and then they'll turn to one of them. So we'll see. I'm just going full attack mode on the Browns right now.
Big yikes. You want to hear my prediction for the Cleveland Browns? I've been thinking about this quite a bit. All right. So Joe Flacco is going to be the Week 1 starter for the Cleveland Browns. Kenny Pickett won't even be on the roster. Actually, he'll most likely be in New Orleans with the Saints, because they're going to need a veteran backup quarterback and a guy to compete with Tyler Shuck. And Spencer Rattler ain't it, and they're going to notice that real fast. Kenny Pickett's in New Orleans. Shedeur is the number 3 because they hate him, not because he deserves to be the number 3, because they want nothing to do with the guy. And Dylan Gabriel's number 2, because, that's the guy that they wanted to be the backup. And then the Haslams walked in and said, you better draft Shedeur right now. Stop effing around. This is ridiculous. And they went out and got him. But Kenny's in New Orleans in my dream scenario.
A multi-step plan in place there already. My goodness gracious. I think that sounds probably more logical than what I just threw out there, but man.
Look at I hope it's Kenny. I hope he gets a shot at redemption for the Steelers. I don't think it's going to work out in his favor, but no. I would like to see it. I would like to see him get a shot. We'll see what happens.